Now, talking about motivation, every day we are flooded with motivational videos and quotes trying to inspire us to act and do what needs to be done, right? The problem is that this initial excitement, this boost, tends to last a short time. The neuroscience of motivation explains how this happens. It's due to a spike in dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter of motivation, not pleasure, as many people think. This dopamine spike gives us a momentary feeling of motivation, but it quickly fades away. For example, you've probably felt motivated after watching a motivational video, especially when you don't feel like going to the gym. In that moment, it really works, but try using that all the time. You'll notice that this spike motivation isn't enough to create and maintain a habit or discipline. What we really need is intrinsic motivation, one that can last for long periods. This intrinsic motivation works more like a bucket that you keep filling with water. On the other hand, peak motivation is like a bucket with little holes at the bottom. You pour water in, but it doesn't stay there. To achieve a goal, there are no shortcuts. Of course, there are more efficient ways to follow a diet, workout, study, or work, but no matter how smart these methods are, consistency and repetition must always come first. So even if you feel super motivated at a certain moment, without consistency, that motivation won't feed itself, and you might end up stagnating. Many people face internal battles precisely because they can't maintain the discipline needed over time. For example, if your goal is to get a six-pack, but you're not seeing significant progress, it's probably due to the lack of consistency in your actions. Many people in this context truly lack discipline and self-control. I believe that these two qualities are the missing keys to unlocking the door that leads to the achievement of their goals. For a while, discipline had a negative reputation for me until I began to recognize its true value. Today, I see discipline and self-control not as something restrictive, but as what I needed to feel free, at peace, good with myself, and ultimately happy. The ancient philosophers, especially the Stoics, considered discipline an essential virtue, along with other qualities like perseverance, resilience, and self-mastery. They valued the intelligent use of time, as Seneca advised, urging us not to waste our lives and to act in the present, since life is short. Marcus Aurelius, in turn, always pointed to nature, emphasizing that the human essence is to be productive, working on something that helps us grow. And when we talk about work, we are not just referring to conventional work, but the effort to maintain focus, develop our intelligence, and improve our skills. And of course, discipline and self-control are fundamental abilities in this process. I myself have studied a lot about personal development, following neuroscientists, doctors, and high-performance athletes on podcasts to better understand human functioning. And when we seek to understand what self-discipline is, we find in the dictionary the definition that it is the ability to do what we know we should do, even when we don't feel like it. However, I slightly disagree with this definition, especially with the part, even when we don't want to. If we don't want something, why would we be working towards it? After all, discipline is a tool for achieving goals that, on some level, we already want to achieve. Discipline often carries a bad reputation. It's often seen as something dull, tiring, even painful. For those who have tried to follow a more disciplined routine and failed, the memories of that time are probably not the best. I remember when I tried to follow a super restrictive diet to compete in a jiu-jitsu championship. During that time, discipline was essential. I needed to be in shape, have enough energy, train properly, and of course, make weight for the category. However, that 1 to 2 month period was very draining. I was constantly stressed, dealing with the limitations of the diet and the psychological pressure of the situation. And in the end, when the competition was over, I lost in the first fight. I believe that this defeat also has to do with the fact that I was too rigid with the discipline. Once the competition was over, I went back to eating without any control, eating fast food 3 times a week. So rigidity can take its toll. The real issue is finding balance so that discipline is not a burden, but a tool that truly helps us achieve our goals in a sustainable way. Remember the concept of memento mori. You will die. Life is short, so why waste your time on something that isn't aligned with your true desires? Often, we are influenced by the opinions of others, by external views, and by the environment we are in, leading us to follow goals that aren't exactly what we want. When I talk about discipline, I'm not referring to the idea of waking up at 4:30 in the morning and taking a cold shower just because someone says it's important. In my view, a more effective definition of discipline would be the ability to repeatedly accomplish something with a clear goal in mind. With that in mind, it's important to understand how our brain's motivation and reward system works. The brain only releases dopamine, that is, motivation, when it expects a reward. If you're not motivated, you probably don't have a clear vision of what you'll gain by engaging in a certain activity. For example, If I offer you $100 to go to the gym tomorrow at 7:30 a.m., the reward is clear and immediate, making it easier for you to get up and go train. But perhaps what you really need is to take care of the basic aspects of your biology first, so your brain can direct motivation to other areas beyond just physiological needs. If, for example, you're not sleeping well, sleeping less than 7 hours a night, or even sleeping 7 or 8 hours but with poor quality sleep, your brain will prioritize rest, and that might prevent you from feeling motivated for other tasks like dieting or going to the gym. Procrastination is also a form of motivation because you are motivated to avoid the task and seek something more pleasurable, like resting. So, the first step to changing this is understanding your biological and physiological needs. Creating a chemical environment conducive to discipline and self-control requires attention to fundamental aspects like sleep, nutrition, and physical activity. Don't expect to avoid McDonald's after work or school by choosing a fruit if you aren't sleeping well. That won't happen. Therefore, to do what we know we should do, or better yet, what we really want to do, we need to establish a primary discipline, the one that comes before everything else. This means giving importance to sleep, nutrition, and physical activity. All of your goals, anything you want to achieve, will be impacted by the chemicals your body and brain produce. And these chemicals are modulated by basic habits, such as having a proper sleep schedule, eating more natural foods, i.e. real food, peeling more and unpacking less, and, of course, regular physical activity. It's worth mentioning that physical activity is not the same thing as exercise. Sometimes we're not motivated to train or we have little time, but even on those days, what's stopping us from walking for 15 minutes or doing any other form of physical activity? That alone helps release the chemicals necessary to create a physiological environment that facilitates discipline and self-control. So, if we can do what we must, which is the basic stuff we just talked about, and abstain from what we shouldn't, like going out partying every Friday night, disrupting our sleep, we're already on the path to discipline. It seems simple, doesn't it? It even seems silly. Sleeping well, eating healthy, exercising, but these are the foundations. This section delves into the concept of discipline and self-control, using Stoic philosophy as the basis for reflection. The focus is on the importance of having a clear goal and living according to that purpose. By approaching life as a process that requires moderation and self-control, the text highlights that true self-control is not just about saying no to temptations, but about practicing abstinence and being conscious of what is truly important to achieve long-term goals. The concept of self-control involves a constant practice and exposure to what challenges our daily decisions. According to the text, modern life, with its constant distractions and chemicals present in the environment, such as substances in food and technology, requires us to strengthen this ability to choose. Repetition and practice are essential to creating new habits and shaping our mind, which, as the text mentions, is plastic and capable of change, but gradually. Furthermore, it is emphasized that the lack of clear goals can lead to procrastination and the pursuit of fleeting pleasures, which, deep down, only numb the frustration of not having a larger purpose. The text uses the example of Steve Jobs and his ability to say no to distractions to emphasize that focusing on a specific goal is essential for success. Finally, the idea of diligence, hard and committed work is also addressed, highlighting that work is a part of human nature and is necessary to achieve any substantial goal. Discipline is presented as the key to finding freedom in the sense of not being controlled by external stimuli, but rather being able to act according to one's own intentions and purposes. This creates a powerful reminder that, in a world full of distractions, finding a clear purpose and disciplining oneself to follow that path is crucial to living a fulfilling and meaningful life.